lying in Shavasana. So with the legs lengthening away, palms of the hands facing up towards the ceiling. And just let the whole body settle down. And if once you land there, you find it's a little bit tight in the low back, or maybe the chin is drawing up a little bit too much towards the ceiling, back of the neck is compressed, you can bend your knees and just bring the weight of the pelvis to rest on the mat, and hopefully that'll take a little bit of pressure off the low back. And then we're just going to take a little bit of time to land in this position, feeling all the parts of the body that are in contact with the mat. So the weight of the feet, the back of the calf muscles, maybe the back of the thighs, depending on the length of your hamstrings and also the front of the hip flexor and the mobility there. The glutes, the pelvis, most likely the low back is going to be slightly lifted off the mat. And then just have a little wriggle around as we get to the mid back. See if you can wriggle the low ribs down to rest on the mat. And then just tracking your awareness up between the shoulder blades. And the back of the neck most likely raised off the mat slightly as that curve lifts. And then the back of the head heavy on the mat. And just start to observe your breath coming in and out of your nostrils. Feeling the rise and fall of your belly and chest. And then if you've got your knees bent, lengthen the legs away now. I'm going to press the heels into the floor. So you're going to press hard into the floor so the heels stay glued there as we start to point and flex the feet. And as you do that, if you keep the heels glued, the back line of fascia is going to start to move. And if you have a little look at what's happening with my body, you might start to nod the head a little bit. The hips might start to move. So we're just moving through the whole body, maybe feeling a little bit of a heat build up in that back line. Just keep taking deep breaths as you move. Maybe build the pace and see if you can point and flex a little bit faster. Just a couple more like this. And then bringing that to a close and coming back to Shavasana, let the whole body weight sink down. Couple of deep breaths there. And slowly bend the knees, press the feet into the floor and just draw the arms alongside the body. Then take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, you're just going to flatten the lower back into the mat and then start to peel the spine off the mat one vertebra at a time. So a little bit of a dynamic bridge movement. Take a deep breath in at the top. And then breathe out, lay the spine down one vertebra at a time. So we're just mobilizing into the back of the body. Breathing in to stay there and then breathing out to peel the spine off the mat one vertebra at a time. And just keep moving with your own breath, breathing in at the top and breathing out, laying the spine down. So you're also stabilizing with the front of the body. Take a deep breath in and then breathing out to peel the spine off the mat one vertebra at a time. 2 more times. And then resting the pelvis down. Let the weight of the pelvis be heavy. And just grabbing your tennis ball or your spiky ball, lift the hips and you just pop the tennis ball just to the right side of your sacrum. So you're not actually on the bony part, you're on the right glute. Right in the kind of the squishy part of the glute. Nice. And then bring your feet a little bit wider and just slowly tip-top the knees towards the right side. And then see if you can just take a little bit of movement when you're there, having a little wriggle around. Maybe it feels really cruisy, or maybe it feels a little bit intense. And then see if you can find the parts that feel like they're at the edge of intensity, and you just want to stay there with that. So we're not pushing into pain, but we're just finding that intensity. And then just land in one point that you find and take a few deep breaths there. Letting the knees relax down towards the floor, only as far as you can without it starting to feel painful. Closing your eyes, taking deep breaths. Slowly rolling back over to center. Take a moment, take the tennis ball or spike ball out from underneath your hip, underneath your glute, and just rest there for a moment. Feeling the difference from one side to the other. And then lifting the hips again, just slightly off the mat. Bring the tennis ball to the left side of the sacrum. And it's just in the kind of juicy part of the glute, the kind of bigger part of the glute. And you're just going to start to have a little wiggle around as you draw the knees towards that left side. And just starting to move around, maybe taking some circular movements. Just exploring, finding those points that maybe feel a little bit gnarlier but not putting you into pain again. And when you find a bit that feels nice and interesting, you're going to stay there for a bit. Just stay there, rest over that point and take a few deep breaths. Closing your eyes, full deep breaths. Slowly coming back to center. Bring that ball out from underneath the glute and just resting there in that neutral position for a moment. Lengthen the legs away now. And reach the left arm up towards the ceiling. Reach the right arm just above kind of that T shape, but not quite overhead. And then reach that left arm over towards the right until you can almost press it down to the floor. And just take a few deep breaths there. So in a bit of a twist, spiraling. And then slowly rolling back onto your back. Reach the right arm up. Left arm reaches, not quite overhead, but not quite T-shape either. And then reaching that right arm over towards the left side. Spiraling, taking that nice gentle twist, reaching out through the right toes. Full deep breaths. Slowly roll back over onto your back. You're going to slide the feet in and then hug the knees into the chest. Take a little rock from side to side, just massaging the muscles on either side of your spine. And then hug the knees in, draw the chin in towards the chest. We're going to start rocking and rolling on the spine. Keep the knees hugged in, curving through the spine. And we'll just do a few like this. So you're massaging your spine, but using the front body to stabilize. Drawing the ribs towards the hips. Couple more. And then coming all the way up, knees bent here. Just take a moment, lengthening crown of head up towards the ceiling. Full deep breaths. Slide the hands back, slide the bum back, the hips back. We're just going to take the flesh of the bum backwards so we can lift up. And if you're finding you're rounding your back, just bend your knees a little bit there. Take a deep breath in, float your arms up, fingertips reach up towards the ceiling. As you breathe out, reach forward, just hinging forward a couple of inches. Take a deep breath in, lengthening. And a big breath out, folding forward, hinging at the hips. Big breath in, lengthening. And as you breathe out, fold a little further. One more time, breathing in, lengthening. And breathing out, folding, heart drawing towards the toes. So we're lengthening from the heart to the toes. Chin draws in towards the chest, so the back of the neck is nice and long. And stay here for a few deep breaths. Keep lengthening through the spine. Breathing full three-dimensional breath into the back and sides of the rib cage. And then slowly walking the hands in. Going to grab your tennis ball again. We're just going to pop it underneath the shin. So we're going to go up and down on the calf and the shin. So bring the hands back behind you, bend the left knee. We're just going to slowly move up and down. So just exploring all around the calf muscle, how that feels. Maybe finding any parts that feel a little bit nigglier. Moving slowly over those parts. And then maybe seeing if you find something that feels a little bit more intense, but again, not pushing into pain. And just take a few deep breaths there. And then maybe starting to move again. And we're going to move the ball to one side. Change legs, so underneath the left calf now, bending the right knee. Hands back behind you for support. And just starting to move backwards and forwards, massaging into the back of the calf muscle. I was thinking about what people might need at home if they haven't got a tennis ball. Like, you could use an apple, but it might get pretty bruised and you wouldn't want to eat it afterwards, or an onion. So just finding those interesting areas, perhaps, that feel a little bit more intense. And then just take a few deep breaths in somewhere that you found quite curious how it feels. So then letting go of that. I'm going to come up to the top or the back of the calf now, not calf, thigh. And we're just going to pop the ball underneath there and do the same thing. So we're going to just roll around, exploring the back of the thigh. Not coming to the back of the knee, but just exploring around the back of the thigh. Maybe you come as high as almost to the glute. You can try and put a little bit more weight into it if you want to. And then finding an interesting point and just taking a few deep breaths there. And just allowing it to release over the ball. And slowly bring that ball out from underneath the thigh and come to the other side. And again, just taking a little bit of movement, wiggling around, finding the points that maybe you want to stay with a bit longer, and sliding all the way from that. And then just taking a few deep breaths when you find that point that you really want to play with, and see how that feels. And then releasing that. And we're going to do that same forward fold again. So you can have the knees soft, or you can lengthen them away. Take a deep breath in, float the arms up. As you breathe out, start to reach forward. Fingertips reaching as if you're trying to reach beyond your toes. Take a deep breath in, lengthening. And I bring your breath out, folding. Big breath in, lengthening. Big breath out, folding, softening. One more time, breathing in, lengthening. And breathing out, folding, this time allowing the body to melt down. So you can stay with a more active forward fold, keep drawing the heart towards the toes, or come into a more passive forward fold now. Relaxing the toes, relaxing the legs, let the head and neck hang down. You can rest the palms of the hands facing up. Just take some deep breaths into the back of the body. Two more deep breaths here. And slowly stacking the spine. Just roll your shoulders. And just take a few circles on your neck. So you're going to draw the chin towards the right side and then towards the left. You could do half circles if that feels like enough, or if you want to start to draw the chin up, around towards the ceiling and then back down towards the left. And then back the other way. Relaxing the jaw, relaxing the face. Relax the shoulders. One more to each side. Just roll the shoulders out. Shuffle forward a little bit on your mat. Bring your hands back behind you and press the feet into the floor. We're just going to slightly counter that forward fold with a little back bend. Press the feet into the floor, lift the hips. Just take a deep breath in here as you press into the hands, press into the feet. And a full breath out. Another big breath in, keep lifting the hips up. And then as you breathe out, lower the hips down. So just a little one there. And then slowly roll all the way back down onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest. Take a little knock. Another little rock from side to side. And then place the feet on the floor. Bring the feet wide again and tick-tock the knees from side to side. And then let the knees fall to the right side. And then lengthen your left arm up. So coming into a little bit of a twist here. So we're exploring that spiraling action and also a little bit of a lateral opening as well. Close your eyes, take full deep breaths, just settling down into this. See if you can even breathe a little more into the left side of the body. And then slowly rolling back to center. Let your knees fall towards the left side. Lengthen your right arm away, reaching up overhead. So lengthening through the right side of the body, spiraling, twisting, countering that work we did on the back line. Softening, breathing into the right side rib cage. And then slowly come back to center. Lengthen your legs away or keep your knees bent if that feels better for your low back. Palms of the hands face up towards the ceiling. We'll just take a couple of deep breaths where we breathe in through the nose and then sigh the breath out through the mouth. Breathing in and then sighing the breath out. Letting that out breath allow the body to be really heavy. couple more times. With the out breath, your heavy sinking deep into the earth, into the floor. And then just returning to your natural breath and staying here in Shavasana. Allowing the whole back line to just settle down on the floor. So just a mini restorative practice. Tuning in with that back line. And just give yourself as much time in Shavasana as you possibly can. So if you can stay here for a good 10 minutes, maybe popping a blanket on top. Just allowing the body to be heavy. You can just turn my video off and just allow yourself to completely melt down into the floor. Thanks for practicing with me today. Namaste.